Hello everyone, welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel. I'm Chuck Claywell, and this is a little bit different video. This is the video that will be marking the 1-year anniversary of me being on YouTube. So I thought that I would do a little state of the channel, year in review type video to sort of see where I've been over the last year and maybe where I want to be going forward in the future. So it's a bit off the cuff today. I have my notes here and I'm going to go over a few things that have happened over the past year regarding the channel, and then also a few things that I want to go over as far as what the future of the channel might bring. So here we go. So the channel over the past 12 months, I've managed to put out 12 videos, including this one that you're currently watching. As of the day that I'm filming this current video, there are 56 subscribers to the channel, which is amazing. It's 56, basically 56 more people than I ever really expected to be watching anything that I put on the internet. So thank you, all of you who watch my videos. If the count has changed since then, I will put a little graphic up here above my bookshelf of hats. My most popular video as of today, when I'm filming it, the 11th of October, is Assembling an Edwardian White Tie Tuxedo Part 1. It was the very first video that I ever put out. Currently has over 600 views. Again, if anything changes, I'll put a note up here. Why I think it's taken off is, well, taken off is a relatively ambitious way to describe it, since it's less than 1,000 views over the course of a year, but it's still a lot of views for me. And I think I'll go into why I think that is a little bit later on during the questions. But regardless, I'm very glad that it's reached that many people. My least popular video, with a whopping 25 views, is my channel trailer outtakes. Apparently my weird sense of humor is not all that interesting to a lot of people, but that's okay. I enjoyed making it, and it was funny to see some of the weird, outtakes that I had. Okay, so that's the channel. For what I've done this year with reenacting, the virus has been really detrimental to any reenacting this year. It's basically put the end to any major reenactments, pretty much nation and worldwide. That being said, in the last year, October 21st is when I put my first video out. Since then, I've been able to attend 5 events. Most of those events were either late 2019 or very early 2020. So I did 2 World War II Soviet events, a Baltic event in California, and then Stalingrad in Ohio. World War I Imperial Russian event, which was also in California. I did 2 first century Roman events. That's my latest impression, the one that I've put together most recently. There was a creativity festival down in Maryland, and then the Terra Incognita event that I made my last video on. So those are the real events, and I did one work day helping dig trenches with the 113th, my French World War I unit over in Newville. Yeah, and with the pandemic and everything really got shut down, and it's a shame, because I left the military. I was in the Navy for 5 years at the beginning of this year, and since moving to the East Coast, I was very excited to be within driving range of a lot of major events, and then all this happened. So it is what it is, and I'm looking forward to 2021, that maybe a lot of those events will happen. As far as vintage goes, I attended a 1920s themed New Year's Eve party back on the 1st. back before we knew the world was ending. And I did not get, unfortunately didn't get any photos of me wearing my white tie. I wanted to, it just never, I know there were pictures taken at the party, I've not seen them, who knows. But as far as vintage goes, it's really all I managed to do as far as the vintage scene this year. Personally, my personal life, well, not too many details because I don't like putting too much of myself out there, but I will say that as I mentioned earlier, I got out of the Navy at the beginning of the year. Moved all the way across country. I was living in San Diego where I was stationed, and I'm now living in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So it's a pretty big change as far as across the country. And it was a sort of a jar because when I left San Diego, it was sunny and in the 60s, you know, because it stays about the same all year. And then when I got here to Pennsylvania in February, there was still snow on the ground. So that was interesting. Currently a student using my GI Bill benefits, and I really enjoy what I'm studying. The other thing is that since I left the military and I'm not working out regularly, and with the pandemic, I swelled up like a balloon. I gained a lot of weight, which is not great, but it is what has happened. So looking into the future, as far as the channel is concerned, I have a few ideas for some upcoming videos. Still knocking them around in my head, still figuring out what I need for those videos. So stay tuned for that. If you have any ideas, any things that you would like to see me do or cover or suggestions, put them in the comments and I will consider it. I'm always looking for good ideas. I eventually do plan on getting a dedicated camera. Right now I am using my phone, which kind of sucks because it only has so much memory on it and the camera is not great. But I'm hoping to eventually get a dedicated camera that I can make videos on to make it a little better. I already did invest in a tripod, which is what the camera's on now, but I need a dedicated camera. So that's something that I'm looking to get here in the future. I still have to finish part 3 of the Royal Army Medical Corps impression series. There were still waiting on some things that I ordered. I think the pandemic has slowed a lot of that stuff down. Just a couple of items and then a few things that I still have to make in order to finish that kit, and then I should be able to make that video. Still finishing the Edwardian White Tie series. I still have to do the episode on the accessories. I have most of those items, I just need to make the video. As far as reenacting goes, I mentioned earlier with the 2020 pandemic, everything kind of, was canceled. So we're really looking forward to this next year so that I can, do some of the events that I'm really looking forward to. The big ones are Newville, the Newville World War I battles, which are a few hours away from me now instead of all the way across the country. A few things that I'm looking forward to in the immediate future. Maybe more on that to follow, who knows. I don't know if I'll get any video or not, we'll see. Stalingrad next year, which is it's kind of up in the air, but hopefully it will happen. There's so many things that I'd like to do, and that it just depends on how the climate is and everything coming year, of whether or not things will be open, and then play it by ear. As far as the vintage scene goes, I'm hoping to increase and get some more civilian items. I don't have an awful lot, as I've said. I've got basically 2 civilian attires. I have my 1906 circa day suit, which I have not featured on the channel, but I think that would be a good idea. I have this, which is kind of my casual Mr. Rogers circa 1920 look with my cardigan and tie. And then I do have my white tie that I've been working on, which is super duper formal. I'd like to get some more casual things, some things that I can wear more daily. And then, as personally, the big thing is I like to set a goal to lose about 50 pounds over the next year. I think that not only would that be good for me health-wise, which is the number one thing, but also I am starting to find that some of my uniforms for reenacting are starting to get a bit snug. Some of them I am having difficulty fitting in at all, which if you understand how much money I have invested in all that stuff, that is not a good thing. So that is one of my major goals for the upcoming year, is to lose about 50 pounds, more if I can, but 50 pounds is the goal. So now on to questions and comments. So RHEC_Grizzly asks a couple of questions. First one, do I plan on doing a podcast style of videos describing my knowledge about all the wars I've reenacted or my history knowledge? It wasn't something that I had been considering up until the suggestion was made. Right now, it's a bit outside of my ability to make, just because of the equipment that I'm using, but it might be a possibility once I get a camera that can actually film for more than 4 minutes at a time. So we'll see. What kind of recording gear do I use? So I use my phone, which is a Samsung, and it's a relatively older Samsung. I've had it over 2 years to do all of the filming. I use I have a laptop that I do all my editing on, and I use a program called OpenShot, which is a free software. I had been using the Windows movie editor that comes on the PC already. It kind of worked. It's what I did the first 4 or 5 videos on. It works okay, but it's not great. It's kind of clunky, really designed more for making photo slideshows or just butting, videos together without much extra editing. And I needed something a little bit better, something that could do multiple tracks and titles and overlays and stuff like that. So I ended up getting OpenShot, and it's worked pretty well for me. Bit of a learning curve, but it's something that relatively easy to pick up. As far as like voiceover recording for like narration and stuff, I use a built-in microphone on my computer, which is garbage, but it works okay. I could invest quite a bit of money if I wanted to on getting good setup, but I just sort of do this as a hobby, and most of the time my videos come out okay. Hoping to upgrade things slowly over the future. But the focus first off is going to be a new camera. And then what do I use to edit footage? Again, OpenShot is the program I use. Works really good. And then there's a viewer, LTH, who left this comment on the Assembling an Edwardian White Tie Tuxedo Part 1, which is my most popular video. White tie should never be called tuxedo. You are correct, LTH. It should not. The reason that it's called that in the title and why I did in that whole first video was I made that video kind of spur of the moment and really hadn't yet done much research. And in the subsequent videos, you end up, I've learned and I've corrected myself. I start calling it white tie, or full dress, which is what it actually is, and not tuxedo, which is something completely different. The reason why I haven't changed the title is because I think that calling it white tie tuxedo, there are many people out there who don't know the difference like I did, and I get a lot of search terms, like looking at the analytics on my videos. There's a lot of people that search for white tie tuxedo, and that's how they end up finding my video. And that's part of the reason why I think that it is as popular a video as it is because there are people who do not know also and are making the same mistake in ignorance like I did when I first made it. And it is bringing people to the video. And while I do know the difference now, and I have not called it tuxedo since that very first video, It does tend to draw people into the video, into the channel, whether they stick around or not. The analytics say that a lot of people don't, but it at least gets me some views. Not that it really matters, because I haven't made near enough views or anything to even be considered for any kind of monetization or anything like that. I make no money off these videos. I had very small fish in a very big pond, but I enjoy what I do. I enjoy making them, and I hope you enjoy watching them. So that has been the state of the channel for the year of late 2019 through 2020. Thanks again for those who have subscribed and who watch my videos. I very sincerely appreciate it, and I'm hoping that the next year will be a lot better than this last year. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.